Good afternoon everyone. In this particular video, we will be discussing regarding your 7th chapter, that is the classes and objects. So in this particular video, we will be discussing what exactly is the definition of a class, what exactly is the definition of an object, and how to create a class and how to create an object. Okay, all these things will be discussed in this particular video. Firstly, let us discuss what exactly is a class. So, a class is nothing but a blueprint. It can be considered as a blueprint, or else it can be considered as the basic building block in OOP. It can be considered as a blueprint, or else it can be considered as the basic building block in an OOP. The class will be consisting of two things. The first one, it is called as the data members, and the second thing, that is called as the member functions. So a class is nothing but a blueprint or else the building blocks of OOP. It will be consisting of two main components, that is called as the data members and then the member functions. So the data members defines the properties of a class. The member functions describes the functions that are performed on the class. Now let us consider an example that is called as a car. I will consider the example as a car. Now, the car has certain properties and it is also having certain functions. The properties of the car can be called as the data members. The functions that are performed on the car is called as the member functions. Now, let us see what are the properties of a car. Now, every car has a company. It has a model name and it has the registration number. Okay, now these are all the properties of a car. That is, if you consider any of the car, okay, it will be having these properties in common. That is, it will be having a company, it will be having a model, and it will be having the registration number. Now, you can perform certain operations on the car. What are the operations you can perform on the car? That is, you can start the car, you can drive the car, and you can stop the car. Okay, so these properties, that is the company name, the model, and the registration number, are called as the data members because these are all the properties of the car. Okay, so the operations you are performing on the car are called as the member functions. Okay, so a class is nothing but a blueprint which consists of the data members as well as the member functions. Okay, now I am considering the example of the car, or the properties of the car can be considered as the data members. The operations you are performing on the car can be considered as the member functions. Now let us consider another one example. Let us consider the example of a pen. Okay, pen can be considered as a class. Now, what are the properties of the pen? A pen has price. Each and every pen has some marked price. The pen has some color. Okay, these are all the data members. That is, the properties of the pen can be considered as the data members. So what are the operations you can perform with the pen? You can write and you can write, you can scratch the thing what is already been written. So these are all called as the member functions. Okay, so these together, the data members as well as the member function, will constitute the class. Okay, this is the example as well as the definition of the class. A class will be consisting of the data members. Data members are nothing but the properties of the class. Member functions are nothing but the functions you can perform on the class. Now, let us go for the next definition, that is called as an object. What exactly is an object? Okay, let us see that. An object is nothing but an instance of a class. An object can be considered as an instance of a class. Instance in the sense, a variety or else a part of a class can be considered as an object. Now let us consider the example of a car. A car can be considered as a class. Now what I will do is, I will create an object that is called as Swift. A Swift can be considered as an object which belongs to the class that is called as car. Now, a Swift, now let us consider this object is an instance of a class. There are many varieties of cars. Among them, a Swift is also a variety. So, an object is nothing but an instance of a class. Now, let us consider the example of this, that is called as the Swift. A Swift is an object of the class that is called as car. Now, the Swift as company. What is the company name of the Swift? That is called as Maruti, is the company name for Swift. Next, model. So again, model, let us consider 2019. Next, registration number, let us consider 1234. Okay, so the Swift is having the properties, that is the company name, model as well as the registration number. You can perform all the operations on this Swift, that is you can start the Swift car, you can drive the Swift car as well as you can stop the Swift car. Okay, so this is nothing but an object. So there are a variety of objects for the class like Innova. Okay, again if you consider the example of Innova, Innova is an object of the kind car. Now let us consider the other example what you have considered previously. Now, pen is a class. Okay, it is having some properties. Okay, that is the price and then the color, and you have some functions you can perform with the pen, that is write and scratch. Now let us consider an example. It is called as classmate, or let me consider some of the pen butter smooth from Cello butter smooth. Okay, now Cello butter smooth is an object of the class pen. Now by making use of this pen, you can define the properties as well as you can perform this operation. By making use of Cello butter smooth, okay, I am defining the properties. The price of this particular Cello butter smooth, it is 10 rupees, and the color of this thing, it is blue. Okay, and you can write by making use of this butter smooth pen, as well as you can scratch what is already been written by making use of this butter smooth pen. So this is nothing but the definition of an object. So object is nothing but an instance of a class. That is, there are many number of cars. I am considering the example. There are many number of cars. It might be Swift, it might be Innova, it might be any other thing. Among them, one of the car model can be considered as an object. All the cars together, all these models together can be considered as car. Okay, so that that is nothing but the class. So a class will be consisting of the data members as well as the member functions. Data members are nothing but the properties of the class. Member functions are nothing but the functions we are performing on that particular class. And we have come across the concept of the object. An object is nothing but an instance of a class. So object, I have considered the example of the Swift. Swift is an object of the kind car. Innova is an object of the kind car. And I have considered the example of the pen also. In this Cello Buttersmooth I have taken. Cello Buttersmooth is nothing but an object which belongs to the class that is called as pen. By making use of this object, okay, I can define the properties for this object as well as I can perform the operations by making use of this particular object. So this is nothing but a brief introduction of the classes and objects. Okay, in our further classes we will be discussing how exactly to create a class. Okay, what is the syntax of the class, how to define the data members, and how to define the member functions, and how to write a program that is made use of classes and objects. Okay, so let us discuss that in our next video. Now what you have to remember is the definition of the class and the definition of an object, and what are the components that is present in the class, and what exactly is an object. Okay, thank you.